Hello, Internet. I'm here with some more chess content because Sparrow, that guy that we locked in the basement, decided I'm going to steal the Matman's brand. So I wanted to show you a few games from a tournament that I've recently played in called the World Cup for Friends, which, as you can see here, I have recently completed the first round of the tournament, one of three, and I finished off in first place. So I'm going to share with you a few of the games. I'm going to show you two wins and one draw. So let's start off with this first game. This is probably one of my favorite games that I've played in this event so far. Against a gentleman named Batukisli. He's from Mexico. So this game started off as a Queen's Pawn opening, which is pretty normal. I played a London. I don't got to go really into it a whole lot. I played a London, all the normal moves at the start to get this, the classic London three pawns, bishop on the outside, knight fighting for the center while his knight is kind of also jostling there. But really here, if I wanted to, I could put my knight in the middle after he moves, of course. So basically he's playing the London against me. It's London versus London. But, London's just better for white in this spot. As you can see by the engine analysis bar, we got a 0.1 advantage. Got to ride that advantage to the end. So here, I decided to attack the knight, pinning it to the king. So that way it can't get out. Because, that knight is stupid. And now, he defends it like a boss. And I say to myself, geez, what am I going to do? Now, obviously, I can take, but then he just takes it back this way, and that's no good. If he didn't put the knight there, if he just said something stupid, I probably would have just taken and doubled his pawns. Because, that's just good. But, it's not what I did. Because that would be kind of dumb. I could also make some kind of really weird, dumb, I could just go like, and just be like, as you do. But I want to win this game. I want to beat this guy into the ground. So, I play knight h4. I'm just thinking, okay, I'm going to play knight h4, attack his bishop. Maybe at some point, I want to get in here. No, get in here and do something. In the future, or even if I can dislodge this pawn, I can get my knight here, and then the knight and bishop will team up on this square once this pawn gets removed. Just thinking about the future, and that probably wasn't the best move I could have made, but it's a move. My opponent plays bishop e4. He's pressuring this pawn still, and I shouldn't have played this move because now I just gave him almost an outpost. It's only reason it's not is because I can play this and kick him out, but. According to Ben Feingold, never move the f-pawn. At least never play f3. So I didn't. I attacked it with my other knight. Like, do. And now, he's going to lose his bishop. So he retreats all the way back. That's actually a great move, because here, I moved up here, kind of, because he can't take it, and I'm targeting this in the future again. And I'm also putting pressure over here. So what I'm thinking here is that he can't move this without moving his king or without pinning himself like that. The reason I didn't take this is because if I take and he just takes, that opens up his rook. And honestly, I don't want to open myself up to that kind of attack because I'm going to have to castle queenside. And it's still too early. It's unsure. So that doesn't happen. And I played this move. He responds, kicking out my bishop, asking, "Hey, bishop, what you doing here, man?" Now, I have two options. I can basically retreat all the way back and try and reroute to that side of the board. Going here will be colossally dumb, because let's say I go here, he goes here. I go here, and like I'm pretty much lost. Like he's gonna do that. Let's say I'll go here. He attacks me. I go here, and I actually better for me. But he's gonna do something. Like if I go here, he's gonna go there, and then he's gonna be something like, I don't know. Oh, what's he gonna do? Oh, right, no, it's my move. That's why I can't think. He's gonna do that, and then he's probably gonna take that bishop, and I'm gonna take back, and this is just not great. At this point, he can just go in there and just destroy me. So I avoided all of that by just retreating my bishop, teaming up with my queen, maybe go here in the future. Which, I mean, he takes my bishop, I take his knight back, because that's pretty standard stuff. And then, yes, this move. Right. So, he put his knight here, and he's obviously attacking my pawn. And, I mean, I have easy way to defend it. But I decided at this point, I was like, you know what? I don't care if he opens his rook. Because, I mean, Engine says I'm just basically losing here. I mean, I'm basically down one pawn, even though the material balance is equal. But I was thinking to myself, man, with that opening, maybe I can get my bishop in and eventually push my pawn up. Definitely castle queenside at this point. And just see how it goes. So I start off by reinforcing my setter, create this little, I call this a thorn. I'm not sure what it's actually called, but it just reminds me of like the grammatical symbol. So I do that. And he puts his bishop there, and this is this is not looking good for me. Like I put my knight up, I'm playing good moves, like knight f3 right here. That was the top engine move. Like that was very unlucky. And then, because I'm thinking, okay, he's going to want to try and start attacking here, and I got to do everything I can to try and support this pawn, even though there's not a whole lot I can do to support it. So he decides to attack this pawn. It's like, well, I can't really take with the knight because I'm going to lose it, and so I'm like, okay, I'll take with the pawn because, which, by the way, that was not a great move. According to the engine here, I should have played queen d2, and then when he takes, I take, and this is just good for me. But I didn't do that, and I took, because sometimes you see something and you take it. Takes with this bishop, and now he's attacking this pawn, and I do not have a convenient way to defend it. I mean, I got this. I think that's what I played. Oh no, I took his bishop, right. And this is just, ooh boy, this is not good. He takes his queen's got in. That was queen's attacking this, it's attacking this. I can't go here to defend it because of the knight. So, yeah. So I believe, I played the second stockfish move here, which is queen d3 to defend this one. I figured, you know what, this is going to die. I have no way to protect that. The least I can do is protect this little guy. And by doing this, it doesn't leave me pinned. So he takes this one. So, when I was playing this game, honestly, I didn't even think that move would be well, I didn't consider the move. Because I was just thinking, oh man, this is... he's obviously attacking these guys. But now he goes in, he's getting in, he's attacking me. I am minus 2.8 right now, so that's good. I castle long to defend my rook and try and tie everything together. Basically, I can't move anything right now because all my pieces are tied together in this really weird way. He attacks my queen. I go back. And then he makes a mistake. As soon as he did this, I was like, oh, you so stupid. I got so excited because I immediately saw I could take this for free. Well, not for free, I could trade rooks because I have this check. Now, if I do this check now, it doesn't work because then he takes and I take the queen and he's just up material. But if I take this rook first, I honestly at this point I viewed it as a free rook. I thought there's no way he's going to take it. I figured he's going to back up or do something, but he takes it. And I'm just like, yes, let's go. Game on. So I check him. And at this point, I mean, this is an online daily game from the tournament. But at this point, I can feel his soul is just leaving his body. He's like, oh no, I messed up. So he obviously takes the bishop, and I win his queen with nasty ideas to go back here and get his rook, which he does not allow. So I naturally take the pawns. I'm like, I gotta gobble. I gotta eat up some pawns. He plays rook take. At this point, I was getting scared because I was like, okay, this guy's higher rated than me. At the time of this game, I was like 1,200 or 1,300 daily. And now I'm 1,400. I was getting scared because I was thinking he might. Oh, it's my move. Like, let's say if I just get greedy, so take pods. I was like, okay, he could go here, and then if I just like lazily do some things and like give some checks and eventually try and like I don't know, position myself to say win this pawn, like I'm gonna be in trouble because once he gets here, this is checkmate, and I have to like. Well, that's not necessarily a great continuation, but you know that's not looking good. So, whoops. So I went to the wrong spot. So I calculated out. I was like, okay, I can take a couple of pawns. And he does do that. I'm like, okay, I can take one more pawn with check, and then I can break in the center. So this way, this leaves me another getaway square for my king if he comes in there, which he doesn't do. He decides to attack this pawn. But the whole point of this move was that if he did come in here, I can now just, you know, I can have an escape route. And, excuse me. And I can just take here, and I'm just fine. Because, you know, he takes, I take, I'm hitting both things. He'll probably check, I'll go up here, and everything is hunky-dory. If he takes, I'm just winning. I mean, I was just winning the whole time. I just basically got scared of that one little checkmate threat he had. But I just took the pawn. He checks me. I go out this way. I don't think there's really much of a difference between the two. Between King D2 and King C2. I think that I was thinking if I go this way, I can get behind my rook, or I can hide my king in behind this pawn. Just to remove angles of checks from my opponent. So yeah, I do that. He takes my rook, and I was like, okay, you really wanted to go into a queen versus knight endgame with 3 pawns each? Like, you're just losing. What you really need to do here, because it is 100% possible for me to lose this game, because I did let him take my 2 pawns. I just thought, oh, my queen's way too strong. But against the knight, you got to be careful not to allow any forks. Because let's say if I do something stupid, like, I'm like, oh, herp the derp, I'm going to attack this. Oh, okay, that just hangs the queen, but like I don't know. I can't think. I can't find any folks right here, but yeah, you just got to be careful not to let the knight attack both things. So I gave him a check. He went in there. I'm like, okay, let's just make a new queen. let's just go and make a new queen. And up here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to win this. It's no problem. He gets his knight in, and I'm like, okay, my pawn is safe. He can block it, but eventually I will extract the knight, which is exactly what I went to work on doing. I put my queen here. He basically has no moves. And at this point, my opponent resigned because I'm attacking his king and I'm attacking his knight. And that was... In this game, I would have lost if it wasn't for this crazy blunder my opponent made back here when he took my pawn. If he would have done... I think he could have even just, like, done something like that. Okay, that one pawn move completely destroys my opponent's position for some reason. Why? Bishop b5 check. Oh, right, same tactic. Right. Okay, so he basically has to prevent... So, like, this move here, and he's ironclad. Then he can actually take this pawn. And honestly, that's just good chess because I have a light squared bishop and he doesn't. Just put all his pawns on the light squares, except for one. So that way my bishop is biting into nothing. So, let's move on to the next game versus a person named Obe. This was a very long game. So let's see what happened. Once again, I played my London, because I like the London. And he played a 2 knights London, basically. So, or an Indian, as the Explorer calls it, but, like, you know, it's got 2 knights. I put my knight in the center. That's the good thing with the London is there's not a lot to know for the first couple of moves. Like, you can just basically move instantly, da, 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 da. Like, this is the classic London setup. He goes here, and I believe at this point, if you just move something and I go here, I think that turns into, like, a Jobava London or something. When you have your knight here, but this is too symmetrical. I do like putting the knight there. But in this game, I decided, after he checked me, I skipped a move. Sorry. Yeah, so I went here, because I was thinking, you know what? I think I do want to put my knight here in this position. But I don't want it to be in front of my pawn. I want my pawn to be in front of it. So he checks me. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I went here anyway. I mean... I don't think there's much of a difference, but I think going here would have been worse. Yeah, it would have been a little bit worse. So this is actually the best move according to Stockfish here. Let me let it run for a minute. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah, so this is actually the best move. I got lucky. But, yeah, I'm also defending this pawn. And now he's, swarming in a little bit, and I'm already winning here. I kick his bishop out. Like, okay, I don't know why you're going to do that. And he just trades all the pieces. And I've got a very nice position, in a minute, my bishop's going to have fairly open lines, especially my light squared one. I can eventually pin that there. He takes, I take, he goes there. I castle, he castles. Perfectly, basically even game. I got the 2 bishops. He's got a knight and a bishop, so I got to watch out for that knight again. I got to watch out for the forks. And I decided, I'm going to line up an attack, even though he can just take it. And why did I do that? I worked so hard to get a good position in the opening, and I immediately throw it away. He attacks my queen. I obviously dodge, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to put my bishop here, and I'm going to hit this. So I do that. He goes here. Attacking this. He's looking at probably something like that. We'll go for checkmate. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to check you first. He's going to move. And I'm going to come back and defend. Now, the bishops are staring at each other. And he can't move this anywhere except to take. Because the rook is hanging. And he takes. And I take. And now I'm attacking the rook. He can't move this rook. But he can sidestep there. And I'm pretty sure that's what he... No, he blocked with his other rook. So he pinned his own piece. Once again... I have a very small advantage. So I decide to hit this rook, thinking if he takes, because if he takes there, that's just amazing for me, because I do that, and I'm just winning. But that obviously didn't happen. He interposed the X-ray. So I had an X-ray on this rook here, to the pin. And now I don't because the pawn's on the way. I mean, if he takes, that's still, like, I don't know. If I just make a move and he takes, that is, like, no. Excuse me. That'd be bad. Like, he would go back here, or he would do this on a free pawn. God. Why am I yawning? So, yeah. So, oh, jeez. So I took the rook. He takes. I move the queen onto the open file, thinking I'm going to double up here, set up a bit of a battery, and crash through. I wouldn't do it that way, though, because that would be stupid, trading a... But then he decided to offer me a queen trade. And I said, nah, if you want to trade queens, you're going to trade on my terms. You're going to come down to my end of the board. And he does that. The reason they did that is because if I take here and let him do that and give him the connect 4, like that's if I just give him a move, like, how am I going to beat this with just a rook? I'm not going to. Like, I can't even get my rook out. I have to go here, which you saw in the last game, that little thorn in that position. Happens a lot in London. And, like, you know, like, I guess if he just did some stupid things, I could eventually get around there and then push this pawn with my king, and I'm still losing, but, you know. So I let him trade with me, so that way I'm controlling, and he moves his king off the back rank, which is smart. Don't get the king active. And I infiltrate with the rook. He defends. And now it's just a matter of who's getting in first, and it's me. I'm winning. Like, I'm completely winning this endgame. He puts the pawn forward, and I'm like, okay, I got to lock everything down. I want to make him take me. I want to make him take all the risks. And it's +5 right now. I give him a check, force him back. This is almost mate. Like, I don't understand how good this... Like, he can't move forward. He can't move here. His only 2 moves are here and here. And if he goes there, it's just basically game over. Like, I take, he can't take that, and I'm making a queen in a couple of moves. Not to mention, like, let's say he just does that. Like what's happening here? You know, I can give him another check. He'll go back. I'll push. He can't go into defense, so it has to go here, basically. And then, like, you know, I'm just... Like, it doesn't even matter. I'm just destroying this guy. It's good. I don't even have to push a pawn here. I can just take this, and there's no way he's winning. But that doesn't happen. I mean, he goes there. I decide I don't need to take anything. I can just, you know, threaten things. You know, and he takes me. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now I got this check. I'm going to win that pawn. He goes back. I win the pawn with my rook. Again, I want to keep these guys together. Because, let's say he goes there and I do this. I mean, it's not... I'm still winning. But that's not the best move because, you know, blocks it in. So, I take. He goes there and defends. I threaten that pawn. He pushes. I take here because I figure what's the worst that could possibly happen. He takes. I bring my king up. And then he takes that. I thought, as soon as I moved that, I'm like, oh no, I blundered this. But apparently that's just winning for me. So, you know, what do I know about chess? Computer knows all. Now I'm attacking that. He's going over here. And I'm thinking, okay, this has got to be a win. And I instantly, in one move, for just a brief second on the engine, if you look over on the side, the eval bar, when I make that, it didn't do it now, but it did drop down to even. And then it's like, wait a second, no, this is still fine. The computer's like, you're still good, Matt. You're still good. He moves that, and I'm thinking, oh, if I can make him move this, like, so I check him, which, that's where I went wrong. I missed, wait, what? Oh, okay, no. Okay, if he did a king h6, this is what I calculated. I was like, okay, if he goes, wait, no. Yeah, okay, I calculated if he went back there, yeah, that's mate. So, yeah, okay, yeah, I remember this now. This is a couple weeks ago that I played this. Yeah, I was like, okay, if he goes here, like, there's no way I'm losing. It's completely even. So I was right. I'm not losing, but I'm not winning. I just completely gave away my winning advantage. Like, all the way... He goes there. I'm like, okay. I'm going to check him. He's going to go there. I'm going to force him to move forward. I'm like, I can't lose. his rook's in jail. Like, he could take this, and then there, and then there, and then I'm just going to go forward and, extract this king somehow. So I go back. I want him to take me. He takes that pawn, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that pawn. So I take there, he takes, I check with the idea to win this. He takes my pawn, I win his, he wins mine, and now, honestly, if I'm not careful, I'm going to lose this endgame. And at this point, I think I was offering my opponent's draws like every second move, because I knew that if anyone was playing for a win, it was him, but I knew that this is just a draw with the single pawn. Like, I knew at some point I would just trade the rooks off, and yeah. I do my best not to let him move. I bring up my king, and I'm basically just doing everything I can to not let him move his pawn too much. I went here with the idea to just come around and check him, just to force him back a little bit, but, he checks me, I come forward, and basically I'm trying to repeat moves, because I was like, okay, if we repeat, it's a draw. I keep offering this guy draws, and he's not taking it, even though it's just a draw. That wasn't the right time to trade, actually, because if I take... I think it's still a draw. No, wait. Yeah, if I'm not careful here, this is actually losing. Like, if I just go something like that, then he's promoting to a queen. But, that didn't happen, and I think... Yeah, okay, this position is where my opponent's like, fine, you can have your draw. Because, there's just, there's nothing. Like, if he pushes, I'm just going to check him. And then I'm just going to keep checking him. And he's got to move his king away. And eventually I'm going to find keep checking. King f4. Check. He goes here, and then... Oh, geez, I don't know. Like, king g3, according to the... Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, extract it, go here. If he takes, I take. Yeah, it's a draw. So, that's how the game ended. Wasn't my best game of chess in the world, but, any game that you don't lose it's good. So, my third and final game against a gentleman named Blybrew. This is another 48-move game, this time with the black pieces, and he plays King's Pawn. So I play the Caro-Kann. This is my favorite opening with black. He plays the two pawns in the center, just classic Caro. I hit back, he pushes, advanced variation. This is the one that I hate the most, so I always play the Botvinnik Caros against it. He takes, which I very rarely see. Most of the time when I get here, people play this, which is good for me, but, it's just what people play. So he takes, I, solidify, get my bishop, start preparing to take that, and, we just have a very solid opening with a massive advantage to my opponent. Not massive, a one-pawn advantage. I messed up my opening is what I'm saying. So I go in here, he takes, I take, I'm thinking, okay, cool. Bishop for knight, good deal. But stacking the queen, so he has to respond to that. That was actually a kind of a fork, because I'm attacking this and this, so he has to take it. Otherwise, he's going to lose. I mean, he could be like, I was going to go here and defend, but, like, why? Why? Because then I don't even need to take the bishop. Because then he has to move there, and that's just a discovered check, and I'm just going to destroy my opponent. What is he hot here? Oh, yeah. Right, the counter shot this way, and then probably take, and I don't know, this is a wild game. That did not happen. Instead, I took here, he takes, I check him, I'm like, oh, I won your knight, I'm winning your knight. He blocks, and I pick up the knight. So now, it's just a nice even game. I think I saw that back here. When I took this, that's what I saw. I was like, okay, here, if he takes, I win the knight. So I'm temporarily sacrificing a bishop to win the knight. Could have traded queens, but no. Not yet. Yeah, he locks this bishop in. This is not quite an outpost again because I can strike it with... If this bishop was... actually, there are no really available outpost squares because my pawns cover everything. But an outpost is a square that you can make a piece live on that no pawns can attack, basically. So that can only be won by trading equal or lesser, or equal material, or you get a bad trade. So I just keep trading, thinking, okay, cool, I'm attacking the rook up here. He castles. I line up attack on his queen with this move. And he defends it, kind of, but... Well, yes, he does. Because now, if I was to move this bishop... I mean, that's just straight up mate. So I'm not going to fall for that. I castle first. He puts his queen in the center, again offering a queen trade. And this time I took him up on it. He took with his rook. I was hoping he would take with the pawn. But I'm like, okay, I can line up an attack with my bishop at some point. You know, maybe go here, here, here. Like, let's see if he just lets me do all that. Go here, 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 here. Oh, he's just being dumb. Like this is... Apparently that's... Oh, yeah, right, because I'm ignoring this move. But you get the idea. Like, let's say he can't do that. Like, I don't know. Let's say at some point I go here, 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 here. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because, you know, the king needs to be safe. But, anyway, that's not how the game went. He doubled up. I took. He took. I defended my bishop against nothing. Why did I do that? I don't remember why I made this move. I mean, I knew I couldn't go here. Probably what I should have done is gone up here or something. But I digress. I went... Why did I go rook c8? Man, this is what happens when you analyze a game from a few weeks ago. You can't remember your logic behind making certain moves. I think... What was I thinking? Oh, you know what I was thinking here? I was thinking that after he goes here, I could attack his bishop. And then once he moved out of the way, I would get in here, attack this pawn. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. I was trying to get into that pawn so that I could get up here, and yes, it's losing, but that was my idea. So when he moved his king, basically I chickened out on my idea. I was like, oh god, if I attack this now, he's going to get in with this king, so I got to get my king active. I'm basically mimicking my opponent. I'm like, okay, got to make my king as active as possible. Attack his rook, force him back. And then I began my plan. I attacked his bishop. He moved back. I secured that pawn so I can move my own bishop. And basically this entire endgame is focused on me winning these two pawns. So he goes here. I do that, which is kind of a step in the wrong direction. Because, yeah, he just gets that, and we get a discovered check, so I just moved voluntarily. After a rook trade, he takes it, and I basically thought there's no way I'm losing this bishop endgame, because he can't stop me from going here. I mean, he would have to do that, and at this point, I'm pretty sure this is just winning. Yeah. So he goes in here. I just attack it. What's the worst that could happen? He goes here to d3. I'm like, okay, now I bring the king. And I'm thinking here, okay, I need to attack this. I can just move that so that way he can't move either pawn. He backs up. I start bringing my king up a bit more. He takes, I take. So there's no way he can get through. It gets a blockade. I start moving my pawns, seeing if he'll move. I get my king, bringing it ever so slowly closer, and then he makes the critical error and allows me to take because this is defended. And I think he took back. Yeah, when he takes back, I'm getting it with my king. And he's just too slow. He can't stop everything. I trade off the bishops. And I am making a queen. But see, the thing is, making this queen here isn't necessarily my plan. Because I'd use that pawn as a decoy. So when he goes to take it, I'm taking this. And he resigned here. But to show you the point, like, he can't stop me. He's too slow. Like, even if he tries to go in here and make a queen, I'm queening first. He takes. And then I'm just winning this game a million different ways. The easiest is probably to start with this so that I can make a second queen, right? Go here. He goes here. I do this. He does that. And, at this point, I could, according to the engine, I can do a queen f8 check for mate and 8. But I wouldn't do that, honestly. At this point, I would just bring my king in and take the pawn. So that's how my tournament went. This video went a little bit longer than I expected. But, it's some nice chess content. And I wanted to show Sparrow there how much better I am at chess than him. So thanks for watching. Bye.